Good morning, and welcome to a great yoga class where we will bring our attention and awareness to our feet, which, as I said in the little text, they're kind of like our tires, our wheels. Now, this class isn't about curing anything. Of course, it's mostly about being proactive and showing some love and awareness for our feet. And that's obviously when we're walking or doing anything at all. Often when we have a problem, it's because we weren't aware. So yoga is always an opportunity to increase and improve our awareness of our surroundings. We've got these things in our feet called proprioceptors. These proprioceptors are located in the joint capsules, in the ligaments, the tendons, and the muscles. So the more we actually walk in bare feet or walk on uneven surfaces with loose-fitting but proper footwear, the more communication your proprioceptors have with your brain. So if we spend a lot of time sitting, our proprioceptors are not communicating with our brain, and we can stand up, our feet are numb, and so are our brains, maybe, from whatever we're doing. So it's such an honor, it's such a privilege, and it's such a miracle to be in our bodies and to have them do everything that we do. But of course, showing some appreciation, awareness, and respect for everything that our body does, and make the assists to keep ourselves safe, really, so we can enjoy and have fun, which is why I wore this t-shirt today, because boy, oh boy, I don't know what's next, no? But there's just so much going on. So that's really the gist of it. And I just wanted people at home to see these, I'm not sure, what do you call silicone maybe, but these things are for your toes. If you find that your toes are like kind of gnarly, scrunchy, and you'd love to just have them gently stretched, I got them online when I was buying a bra extender, because they figured if my bra needed an extension, so did my toes. I don't know. You know, you gotta love Amazon. Okay, so, but before we do that, it's interesting, probably because I pick up heavy boxes from time to time. Yesterday, my back was like, what happened? So let's come on to our backs and just make sure that we're warmed up before we get going with this class today. So come on onto your backs, keep your knees bent and your soles flat on the floor. Tuck your shoulder blades under your heart center. Tilt your chin towards the center of your chest. Draw your right knee up in towards your chest and extend your left leg. Now, let's point and flex the foot. We do this frequently, but I just want you to slow it all down. So by pointing and flexing, let's just say when we point, we actually stretch the front, the anterior tibialis muscle of the shin. If you're someone who gets shin splints, this is a really important stretch when you point your foot. Now I realize, you know, you might get a little bit of a cramp if you hold it too long. And then when you flex it, you are, of course, mobilizing that ankle joint and flexing and stretching out your plantar fasciitis. So pointing and flexing. Now, when it comes to the ankle joint, let's take that right knee over to the left side with the left hand. So roll over onto your left hip. Just to check in with your lower back, stretching through the hip, the glutes, warming things up. So the ankle joint really consists of one bone, the calcaneus bone. I'm talking about the joint, so I'm not talking about the ankle itself. It has 7 bones, but the joint, it's this one calcaneus bone where the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles, the muscles in the back of your calf, attach. That is considered to be the ankle joint. So when those muscles are stretched, and of course, because we'll be moving around, those proprioceptors in those muscles, ligaments, tendons, and joint capsules will communicate with your brain. Inhaling, come back to center. Exhale, let's draw the left knee up into the chest and extend the right leg down in front. And once again, interlock your fingers around your left knee and let's point the foot. So we're holding it a little bit longer and flexing it. So again, you know, walkers use their heels and runners use their toes. And that'll make sense when we do a little bit of the heel toe. We're going to walk around our mats. The other day I was waiting to be picked up and, you know, with nothing much to do, just standing on a busy street with a sidewalk. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of conscious walking. Pretty tough to meditate on a busy street, but just focusing my awareness on heel and placing the foot down and then moving into the ball and the toe. I've done it in airports, waiting for airplanes. So you're slowly pointing, holding, flexing, holding. And then with your right hand on the outside of your left knee, roll over onto your right side, your right hip, and just have some awareness here around how this hip, thigh, and glute muscles feel in comparison with the other side. Might have been a little tighter, might be a little looser. In life, it's just good to be curious. Rather than, oh, I'm not doing very well, or, oh, I'm really good at this. Just notice what it is. Feels good, doesn't feel good. So just send a little caring awareness into this place in your body when it's not feeling great. And if it is feeling good, it's an opportunity to be grateful. An attitude of gratitude gives us latitude. It's uplifting. And one more inhale here. And on an exhale, rolling back onto your back. And then draw the other knee up so both knees are up. And now we could make some circles on our backs with our hands on our knees. Your knees can be wide apart, or maybe just rolling from side to side. And then place your feet on the edges of your mat, toes flat on the floor. Take your arms out to the side, shoulder height, so knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor, half of your toes are off the mat, or maybe just your baby toe. Press the small of your back into the floor. This starts to activate your abdominal muscles. Inhale in place. Exhale, lower both knees over to the left. So we get a little more into our rib cage and intercostal. I know one gal who said she couldn't come this morning because she's hurt her intercostal muscles. So we stretch and we breathe in yoga. Keeping our muscles stretched reduces chance of injury. Inhaling, draw the knees back to the center. Exhaling, both knees to the other side. And of course, it will be your outer left thigh that is doing the most stretching, but we're getting, as I said, into the rib cage, even all the way up to the pectoral muscles. There's a minor and a major. There's our chest muscles that attach to the shoulder. And inhale, back to center. Exhale one more time over to the left, and then pick up your left foot and ankle and place it on top of your right knee. So it's a little more intense, this stretch, so be mindful. One more breath in, and then release the foot, and keeping your feet on the outsides of your mat, inhaling in place, exhale, other side, both knees over, and then pick up your right ankle and place it on top of your left knee. By the way, with these forest fires, just as a little tip, I always suggest we drink lots of water. It's now important to drink even more water. So 12 to 14 glasses a day, or just up the ante, whatever you're drinking. There's every reason to be drinking a lot of water, and now more than ever. Drinking hot liquids actually keeps, there's little hairs inside of our cells called cilium. That's the plural, cilia is the singular. We want to keep these tissues moistened, and you want to keep your cilium moving. So drinking hot liquids is also excellent. Using a saline nasal spray to keep the tissues moistened in the nasal area will help the nasal passage expel fine particles. Also, rinsing the sinuses with a neti pot. A neti pot is awesome. If you don't own one, great idea to get one, so that if your sinuses are ever plugged, anyway, lots of for viruses. Breathing in steam with thyme. It's antimicrobial, it's antiviral, it's antifungal. You can load up ginger in your diet. It's excellent. Pardon me, that was for ginger. So antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungal is the no, that is the thyme. No. Yeah, that's the thyme. Ginger, lots of ginger improves blood circulation, lung function, and of course, vitamin C. You can be taking that regularly anyway, because you can release your ankle off your foot and slowly come back to center. Increases your it improves your immune system, strengthens it, and it's also detoxifying. All right, draw your knees once more up into the center. And then if you're able to, roll up with your hands under your knees, or roll over onto your side if that feels better. Okay. So sitting up nice and tall, pull the flesh away from your sits bones. So you can actually feel your sits bones flat on the floor. This is where taking a belt, or if you're at home, we've got our yoga belts, but a real belt, placing the belt onto the balls of your feet, the pads, if you will, and your legs are straight. Your legs are straight, so you're just pulling towards you. Now you can feel a good stretch in your calf muscles. So remember, your calves, your gastrocnemius and your soleus muscles on the back of your foot or calf attaches to that calcaneus bone. And tearing the Achilles tendon is not only very painful, there's nothing you can do. You're going to have to be very patient to let that heal. So people who play racket sports, pickleball, which I hear is taking place on Tuesdays and Thursdays for free in the arena down at Kew Gardens, you should check it out one morning. Okay, now you may have felt your hamstrings firing, and if you did a good pull, because it wasn't just your calves, now it was your hamstrings too. All righty, now, with our feet, we can make a namaste. Now that, you know, you're gonna feel this in your ankles, but if you can try to bring, so this is namaste with our hands, much easier. With your feet, good work. I can see good foot namastes. So you're pressing, you're bringing your feet in together. So rather than flat out, they're like, wow. Were you a dancer? No? Okay. Amazing. All right. And then, so that's inverting. Now, the everting is really tricky. So turning them the other way, it'll feel like you're not doing anything at all. But trust me, there's so many ligaments, tendons, muscles, and joints in the foot. Lots. Okay, and let's do one more namaste here. Okay, and then draw the soles of your feet in together. And hold on to your feet, and then you're moving your knees out. Now lift yourself up from behind. Just do a little rocking from side to side. So lifting yourself and backwards and forwards. And then taking hold of your feet or your ankles and just sitting up nice and tall for a moment. Okay, that will do. Take your knees to one side and come on over onto your knees. We're going to come into our first downward dog, but we're going to pump the feet. So place your hands flat on the floor, curl your toes under, and lift your hips up. So just walk your dog or pump your feet, all different names here, but this is obviously an awesome stretch for those calf muscles that attach to your heel bone, your calcaneus. So we're spending a little more time on one side, getting a good stretch. When you feel you've had enough, other side. Try to relax your head and your neck between your arms. And change. Never do too much. And change. And now, let's try to get our feet flat on the floor. And the easiest way to do that now is to bring your hands closer to your feet. Now, your blocks you may need, but just, I want you to get a good stretch. So depending on where you need to be with your hands on the floor to get your feet flat on the floor. Normally in downward facing dog, we have a wider V, and so it doesn't matter, but in this case, we're just focusing. Relax your neck. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. And just let your upper body hang. Just relax. Let your head hang. Let your neck stretch out. Let your spine release from gravity, the force of gravity, changing the direction of that force. And just breathing. And now slowly rolling up, keeping your chin tucked into your chest and letting your head be the last thing to come up. All right, give your legs a little shake out. And of course, in Tadasana, we really focus on our feet. So your feet are about a fist width apart. The outsides of your feet are parallel to the outsides of your mat. Your heels are directly under your knees. Your knees are directly under these anterior, superior, iliac spine, those bones. So everything should be in alignment. And when we're in alignment, we really protect our hips and our knee joints. So lift your toes off the floor. Now this is a really great exercise. Just lift your toes off the floor. Feel your big toe mount, your baby toe mount, and the center front of your heel. Now, this is a good opportunity to think about whether you pronate or supinate. So if you supinate, you probably have very flat feet and no real arch. Let me make sure I get this right. No, sup is out. Supinate is outward. So pronation is when we don't have solid lifted arches. So this is a great opportunity now to close your eyes, check in with your arch support while your toes are off the floor. Now, if you find you have good arches, you could be too much supinating, which is rolling out on your foot. Lay your toes back down. If you engage, when you engage your thigh muscles, this helps to lift the arches. Can you feel it? Can you feel your arches lifted? So obviously, if we collapse inwards, and we see this all the time, if your feet are flat, your knees lose the alignment. And eventually, I don't know, it can be pain, knee replacements, not sure what, but again, we're just being proactive. We're not trying to fix anything right now. We're just becoming aware of where and what our feet are doing. And then lift your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, press them back, pull your armpits down. You're lifting your sternum away from your pelvic floor. So all of a sudden you've got way more space for your digestive organs, glands, liver, spleen, pancreas. And breathe. So Tadasana. There's not much pressure in your toes here. They're almost on a vacation. They're kind of like floating, because most of the pressure in your foot is on your big toe mount, your baby toe mount, and the center front of your heel. That's what you're standing on. Your toes, of course, are very much proprioceptors, but we're not doing anything right now. We're standing. Now inhale and sweep the arms overhead. Padahastasana. Pada means feet, hasta, hands, asana, of course, pose. And then lower your, if you're feeling like your shoulders are up around your ears, just relax in this. You can close your eyes if you wish. Keep your thighs engaged. This is a posture that also brings in both earth telluric energy and cosmic energy. Now, yoga is all about energy. So this would be part of Tantra yoga, is using energy to raise awareness, Kundalini. We're not doing that right now, but just to know that by having your hands up in the air like this, you're receiving like an antenna. One more inhale, stretch up. Exhale, turn the palms out and float them down. We'll perform our sun salutations with attention to what our feet are doing while we're performing these 12 moves. Inhaling in place, feel your feet. Exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart. Arms up, reach up, look up. Now you're going to feel your toes a little more active. They, of course, don't want you to fall over. Inhale, bring your feet back together, lift up out of your waist, hinge from the hips, reaching and stretching forward until your fingertips are on the floor and the crown of your head faces down towards the floor. Step your left leg back and drop the knee to the mat. So now with your back toes curled under, you're stretching your plantar fascia. So that's that whole area on the bottom of the foot. And then inhale, lifting back foot off the floor, sweep the arms up. grounding through the toes and the ball of your back foot. Now, if you press your heel further back, you get a little more stretch into the calf. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart, bring them to the mat, take the other foot back, come on into your push-up or plank position. If you have wrist or shoulder issues, please drop your knees onto your mat and cross your feet at the ankles. If you're in your plank push-up position, pull your belly in towards your lower spine. Reach the crown of your head forward. So again, a nice stretch for the toes here. And then release your knees if you're not there. Flatten the tops of your feet. So now we get to stretch the instep. Leave your hands where they are. Slowly draw your hips back towards your heels and stretch out your spine. Leaving your hands where they are. If you're able, drop your forearms and elbows and slowly come forward, staying nice and low until your chest and chin alight on your mats. Remember, this posture is a great antidote to hunched, rounded shoulders, tight shoulders, and excellent for the integrity of your spinal column. Slide everything out behind you. Flatten the tops of your feet once again so that your toes are pointing backwards. Bring your forehead onto your mat. Align your fingertips with the edges of your shoulders. Bring your elbows into your side body and press your forearms down beside your bodies. Roll the invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck, and on an inhale, use the muscles of your back to lift your upper body, head, neck, shoulders, chest off your mats. Eyes open or closed and float up towards your third eye, Ajna Chakra, your seat of intuition. And one more breath in, lifting, exhale, slowly lower. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up, walk your feet a few inches forward, bend your knees, press your belly to your thighs, your chest to your knees, align your ears with your inner arms. Inhale in place, exhale, send your sits bones towards the back of your mat and press your heels towards the floor. As I said, in this position, it doesn't matter if your heels are touching the floor, but feel the stretch in those calf muscles. Protecting, keeping the Achilles tendon stretched, activated. So the more you send your sits bones towards the back of the room, you're lifting weight out of the front of the body and redistributing it into the lower half. Lift the left leg up, look at your left hand, and swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other leg forward, and let your heads hang. Really let your head hang. If you're not sure, give it a swing. Arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs. Pull your bellies in. Inhale, sweep the arms in front, feet apart for balance. Reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhale, feet come together. Lift out of your waist. Exhale, reaching forward, forward fold. Bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side. Into prayer, exhale, Anjali Mudra. And release your hands. Let's do one more round. Inhale, exhale, feet apart for balance. Reach up, look up, arc back. Inhale, straighten up, lift out of your waist. Hinge from the tops of your legs. Reach forward. Fingertips eventually touching the floor. Let your heads hang. Step your right leg back and drop the knee to the mat. Keep your back toes curled under. Focus your gaze for balance. Inhale. Sweep the arms up. So clearly, any kind of balanced posture creates a lot of communication between your foot and ankle proprioceptors to your brain. So it's kind of like a friend where you communicate often, so you kind of know what's going on. So your brain knows what's going on. It's used to this communication, it understands, and it really keeps us a lot safer when we've got this really good line of communications open. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart, take your back foot forward. And again, taking whatever plank or push-up position is working best for you. Reaching the crown of your head forward, checking in with your toes. Pull your bellies in, breathe. Remember, we need to do weight-bearing exercises to keep our bones strong. We can make new osteoblasts. Release your knees to the floor, flatten the tops of your feet, leave your hands where they are, and slowly draw your hips back towards your heels. Nice stretch here for arms, shoulders, spine, lower back, hips. And leave your hands where they are, and then slowly, staying nice and low. When you're able, with your bums up in the air, release your chest and your chin to the floor. If you hate this posture, you won't be alone. I used to detest it myself, but because of its benefit to my spinal column, I've learned to appreciate it, not necessarily love it. Slide everything out behind you. Place your forehead on the mat. Align the edges of your fingertips with the edges of your shoulders. Bring your elbows into your side body and press your forearms down to the floor. This gets your shoulders and shoulder blades away from your ears and down your back. If you wish to take your feet a little wider apart to access more height in Bhujangasana, please do so. Roll the invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck. Press your hips and pelvis into the mat. Inhale. So we're not using right now our hands or our muscles to lift ourselves up into baby cobra. We're using the muscles of our back. There are 4 layers of muscles surrounding and protecting and supporting our spine. If you wish, press the floor away from you, keeping your elbows, wrists, and shoulders aligned. And breathe, of course. Eyes rolling up towards Ajna Chakra. One more breath in. Exhale, lengthen, and lower down. Curl your toes under. You can come up onto your knees first, or just lift your hips up and walk your feet a few inches forward, and then bend your knees. Press your belly onto your thighs, your chest towards your knees, and align your ears with your inner arms. Inhaling in place. Exhale, send your sits bones backwards as you straighten your legs to press your heels towards the floor. Be aware of the stretch in the calves, the back of the knees, the soles of your feet. Engaging your belly just slightly. Give your head a swing so there's no tension in your neck. Lift your right leg up in the air, look at your right hand, swing that foot as far forward as possible, other foot forward, and let your heads hang. Engage your thighs, pull your bellies in, arms beside your ears. Inhale, sweep the arms in front, feet apart for balance, reach up, look up, arc back. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, let your heads hang. Bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, hands in prayer. And release. Okay, let's come down onto our mats for a moment. Take your knees as wide as your mats, big toes touch, flatten the tops of your feet. Take your sits bones back towards your heels. If you need height for your forehead, you can use whatever your block. You can stack your fists, fold your arms, or if your forehead can rest comfortably on your mat, go for that. Remember, our breathing takes place, 70% of it in our side and back ribs. So just become aware. This, of course, is a great flex for the soles, the tops of your feet. Inhaling, come on up. So, most of us are probably going to want a little bit of height under our butts. We're going to take hero pose, Virasana. Now, again, this is going to be a big stretch for the top of your foot. But we can make it easier if you've got your blocks. Remember last week I showed you, I don't have any blocks here, but you can align your blocks so that, so hero pose, we're not doing squat, hero pose, knees are together, tops of your feet are flat. Now some people can easily, we could as kids, we're not kids anymore. Oh, you got me a couple of blocks? Well, thank you. So just, if you need, you can use your blocks in so many heights to be able to, I don't know how I can do this with the camera. Let's see. We'll turn around. So, knees are together and the tops of your feet are flat. And be patient. If this is something that just is a killer for the tops of your feet, don't sit as long in it, but know that a little more stretching in the ankle would be useful for you, because in hero pose, this strengthens the tendons that are responsible for sucking up the arches into your feet, and it really improves circulation in your entire leg, your hips, thighs, ankles, and feet. So maybe that's why kids just sit in this posture. You know, I mean, kids run and play. Well, we all did it, right? We all sat around and hung out like this. But, you know, if you don't do it, I get it. The knees start to go. The tops of the feet are like, are you kidding me? I'm in pain. I'm cramping. And look at Miss Sue there. And to be honest, you know what? Because there's so many different yoga poses and there's so much for me to do in life as an adult, but I know that back in the day, there was, in fact, I would fold all over. The entire position is to actually go all the way back. Now, haven't done that in a dog's age. I'm not asking you to do it. Please don't do it. But I know that even me, not as flexible in certain positions, because I haven't been practicing them. When somebody else is teaching, they tell you to do it, well, then you do it. Okay, so this is just a really important posture. But obviously, if you have knee issues, you have to be very careful. Angelina's going for it. Yeah, I mean, you can always support yourself and just see, but no, you're not, but it's something that we can work on because it does help with the arches. Okay, so that will do, right? Ha, slowly come up. Okay, that may be the most torture you'll have all day. Okay, there goes Carmen. All right, so curl your toes under again and just sit back. Now, we've done this many times, and you hate this too, right? But it's not as bad as the last one. You don't hate this. But obviously, major stretch for your toes. Our toes aren't used to this. No, they're not used to this because they're used to being scrunched up and I think, it wouldn't be lost on any of us right now that bad shoes are not good for anything. But I will say, I've worn some pretty rough, difficult shoes, and I still do, and I will be this weekend when I launch on TSC. But then I'm kind to my feet after that, and I will take a roller with me. I will deal with, okay, so you can feel this on your toes, huh? Are they burning? No, mine aren't. All right, slowly roll back. And again, we're gonna slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, keeping your chin tucked into your chest and letting your head be the last thing to come up. Yay. Now, I did ask you to have a ball or something to roll around. But before we do that, I want you to just use your mats to do a little conscious walking. So start at the back of your mat, and you will notice the biomechanics that our front foot starts with our heel, and then lying the foot down, you feel the ball of the foot and the toes touch. But the back foot, it's the big toe that propels us. So you're really, when they talk about heel toe, there's a couple of steps in between that. But I want you to go really slowly and watch the mechanics of the heel as it rolls into your balance, because you feel a little more balance when there's more foot on the floor. Then you feel the ball of your foot and your toe. But your back foot, it's your big toe that propels. I don't know how people with gout make out with walking. But in yoga, one way to meditate, and you can hold your hands in whatever position you like, but this, of course, is a lovely position where one hand rests inside the other, your thumbs touch, and you walk very, very slowly. There's nothing too slow. And you become aware of the biomechanics of your foot. So in walking, both feet, there's always one foot touching the ground. Running, no, is different. And just walking really slowly, you can notice a little bit of wobble. These are your proprioceptors working, communicating with your brain. There's so many of them because they're in your joint capsules, they're in your ligaments, tendons, and muscles. And it's through our feet that we ground, balance, and find stability. Now, all of these words I've used in the physical sense, but they're also important to our sense of wellness. So in a more esoteric way, simply by standing, slowly walking, we can calm, center, and find presence. Okay, so that was just your little exercise, but do you notice how your nervous system Okay, come on up to the fronts of your mats. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, step your right leg back. So warrior one, your foot is going to be flat on the floor in warrior one. So it's about 60 degrees pointing forward. And remember, separate your feet so that you have an easier time of orientating your hips, chest, shoulders to the front of your mat. And then you may wish to take your front foot a little bit forward of where it is now so that you get a little more stretch, but you're going to keep your heel on the back floor. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Now, your back foot, your back right foot, you're going to roll over, coming up onto the ball of the foot, and you're going to bring the toes pointing back and try to get the top of your foot once again down onto your mat. So you've just rolled it over, you're stretching the front of your foot. It's a pretty intense stretch, so you can back off, but again, you're having to balance. So that front left leg doing a lot of work to keep the balance, and then roll back and come back into warrior one. Take your arms behind your back, interlock your fingers, squeeze your shoulder blades together, lift your hearts and your gaze. On an exhale, lead with your hearts, keeping that back foot on the floor. It is your anchor. And release your torso between your legs. Let your head hang. Bring your arms up. Release your arms. And then slowly coming back into warrior one and coming sideways on your mat. Turning your feet slightly out and then bringing them slightly in, and then bend your knees. You really want to track your knees over your toes. Coming into goddess pose. Inhale, arms up into the goal pose. So you're dropping your hips down, dropping your seat down, working the muscles in the legs. Now in this pose, it would be, if you're keeping your knees pressed out, you'll notice how that helps to lift your arches. Inhale, come on all the way up. Exhale, lower your hands, bring your legs together and give them a good shake out. And come on up to the fronts of your mats again. Inhaling in place. Exhale, step your left leg back about 2.5 or 3 feet. Walk your right foot out towards the edge of your mat. Make sure your back foot is about 60 degrees pointing forward. So you're going to point your back foot a lot forward, a lot. Your front foot should be 90 degrees to your mat, your back foot about 60 degrees to your mat. Then you have no issues. You're not torquing your body. Your body is orientated towards the front of your mats. Bend that front knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Don't let your rib cage poke out. That puts too much pressure and curve into the lumbar area of the back. Keep the shoulders low. You can lift your gaze slightly. And then come up onto the ball of your back foot and flip the toes over, bending the front knee. So now you're stretching the front ankle. You're bending your back knee a lot. So sinking, bending, and roll the back toes over again. Get your heel firmly planted on the floor. Bring your arms behind your body. Interlock your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your hearts, lift your gaze. Inhale, exhale. Lead with your hearts. Lengthen your torso. Lengthen before you bend and fold. Releasing your torso between your thighs. Let your heads hang. Arms coming up whatever amount they can. Release your hands. And then coming back up into Warrior One, and let's transition into Warrior Two. So now your feet are a little wider apart. The heel of your front foot creates a straight line through the arch of your back foot. You're bending your front knee. You're reaching your arms. You're letting that stretch originate between your shoulder blades. Look down that you can see your big toe inside of your knee. If the knee collapses in, so does your arch. That's simple. Press your knee out. That will lift the arch so your knee is over your ankle, and then press into the outside of your back foot. That will also lift your arch. Front knee bent, front knee, back leg straight. Your back foot should be about 30 degrees forward, and your front foot is 90 degrees straight to your mat. And then lower your back arm down your back leg, reaching up into exalted warriors. Reaching up, stretching up, looking up. Exhale, lower. Let's turn sideways on our mats once again. Inhaling in place. Exhale, halfway. Tabletop your spine. Tense your fingers under your face. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, reaching up, stretching up, and looking up. Exhale, float it down. Inhale, sweep the other arm up, reaching up, stretching up, and looking up. Exhale, float it down. And now let's pivot to the other direction. Make sure the heel of your front foot creates a straight line through the arch of your back foot, and then windmill your arms coming up into Warrior Two. So your front leg is bent and your back leg is straight. Look down at the knee, your bent knee of your front left leg. Make sure you can see your big toe. Your knee should be tracking over your middle, if not your baby toes. And then be sure you're pressing into the outside of your back foot. Both of your arches will be lifted. Lower your back arm down your back leg, reaching up into exalted, peaceful warriors. Inhale, up, exhale, and then release your arms and give your legs a good shake out. One more posture before your favorite. Take a sip of water if you like. I bet you want to guess what this next posture is going to be? Tree pose. Come on, that's the best for your feet. Now, if you have slippery pants, then it's going to be tough to put your foot inside of your leg. But you can start by balancing. I'll do the mirror image for you. So transfer your weight onto your right foot and come up onto the ball of the left. You want your knee to be out to the side, and with balanced postures, it's not on my time, it's on your time. You wait for your own inner cue. If you want to stand somewhere and hold on to something because you're sure that you're not going to make it, that's fine. Now, you can also, and this will still, your ankles are going to have to move here, even if you bring your foot right beside your ankle. You can place your foot on your calf. Do not put it on your knee. And then if you're able, You're bringing your heel into your inner thigh, and you're pressing your thigh into your foot and your foot into your thigh. Take your time. Nice. I'm looking at a forest, everybody. A forest. A forest of friends. Very nice. Bring your hands together and give your legs a shake out. Wow. That was impressive. Okay. But you know, maybe it is because your feet have been having such a workout in your ankles. Maybe already we've got this nice flow of communication from foot to ankle to brain. Don't know. All right, so take your time. You know what you're doing. Wait for your own inner cue for balancing. And be sure to breathe. If your pants are slippery too, it's quite all right to hold on to your foot and just kind of be an off-centered tree. There's lots of them around. But you've got to press your thigh into your foot and your foot into your thigh. Excellent. Nice. Okay. If you have an eye cover, and if you you can place that when you're ready, coming into Shavasana. The eye covers are over there. There are tissues to put a tissue on your eye first, then put the cover. Please get one. It's worth it. They're so lovely. You know where everybody got? Okay. Oh yeah, the tennis ball. Well, you know what? The tennis ball, which, sorry, we didn't get to that. And to be honest, before you go, sit on the bench and do it. But yeah, I was looking at that, but it's basically, this is too big. Water frozen in the refrigerator. I mean, if you have serious plantar fasciitis, this is a really good idea. People who pronate are prone to plantar fasciitis. I think there's lots of reasons. There are psychological causes behind all illnesses and ailments too, so not everything's not physical. If you have any interest in this topic, I have very good books on the topic of the relationship between what's going on here and what's going on everywhere else. So, you know, we don't discount that, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah, so the tennis ball was to obviously massage and stretch the plantar fascia. All righty, good work. So bring yourself into Shavasana, flat out and relaxing. Please feel good about your efforts. Closing your eyes, separating the biting surfaces of the teeth, relax the jaw. Let your bodies be soft and heavy. So we're working our way through the yamas and niyamas, which are invitations to act in ways that will promote inner and outer peace. The third of the niyamas is called tapas. It's called right effort, self-discipline. It's the willingness to do the work. It's taking the initiative, developing discipline and enthusiasm. A burning desire to learn would be considered tapas. And really, we can apply tapas to anything in life. It can be cooking. It can be playing a musical instrument. It can be changing your diet, cultivating an attitude of loving kindness, contentment, or non-judgment. In yoga, tapas is seen as a commitment to practice in terms of cultivating healthy habits and breaking unhealthy ones. It's also being a witness, because awareness, being the witness, makes us present, and it really helps us become aware. And when we're more aware and present, we can more easily be in a state of gratitude. Living in the past, worrying about the future, robs us of the gift called presence. And when it comes to this third niyama, most of us are old enough to know and lived long enough to realize that discipline is a path to happiness. Inhaling the life force long, full, and deep. And deep, exhaling. Long, full, deep, inhaling. And deep, exhaling. Inhaling very, very deep. And let it go. Inhale, stretch the arms overhead, reach and stretch, point feet far, flex, point, and let it go. Inhale, stretch the arms skybound, reaching and stretching, point feet far, flex, point, and let it go. Take your time to roll over when you're ready onto your sides, bending your knee, use your bottom arm as a pillow. Take a moment to acknowledge yourself for showing up, to practice, to develop greater awareness, knowledge, appreciation for the gift of your bodies and the gift of life. When you're ready, and only when you're ready, press yourselves back up into a seated posture. Thank you always for sharing your practice. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.